Hey guys, Bible Skeptic out on his bike again. First of all, let me say thank you to everybody who offered name suggestions for the new motorcycle channel that I'm going to go ahead and put up and putting these videos over on. It was a lot of good ideas. It was really hard for me to decide, and I'm not just saying that. I'm not being condescending at all. There were some really good names out there, and it was tough for me to decide which one to use. But after some thought, sleeping on it, talking to my kids and a couple of my buddies about it, we've decided that the best name, it kind of keeps the continuity with the old channel, but also gives kind of a cool, edgy name for the motorcycle themed videos, will be Bible Skeptic Uncaged. For those of you who don't ride motorcycles, people are riding these vehicles over here. They're in cages. Obviously, outside on the bike, I'm uncaged. So that's where the name comes from. Really like that name. That's what I'll be using. So I actually lied on my last video and said that that was going to be the inaugural video for the new channel. But when in fact, actually this one will be the first video that I actually will begin the new channel, since now I've got the name. I'll move this one over there. This one will be co-hosted on both channels. And I'll, from now going forward, put all of my videos that are motorcycle related over on the new Bible Skeptic Uncaged channel. So follow me over there if you want to subscribe and watch more of these sorts of videos. That does not mean, I know there was one guy who thought I was closing down the Bible Skeptic channel, and that's not the case at all. I'm not doing that. I'm going to continue to make videos for the Bible Skeptic channel. It's just that some of the motorcycle videos just won't have that same theme, and I want to keep that channel just for the production videos that I make out in Sony, the ones that take me seemingly forever to do, and that's where I'll put those. So this is where I'll be putting all the motorcycle vids, is over on Bible Skeptic Uncaged. Also, a little bit of housekeeping here. One of my subscribers made mention of how he hates C470 right now with all the construction going on. So Mystic Rider, I thought I'd show all of those out there that are watching these videos who don't happen to live in Colorado or don't make it down to the South Metro area, where obviously you and I reside, what it is you're talking about and what it is I'm having to deal with. So you guys can see they're doing construction out here. They're widening this road. There's a lot of people now living down here in this end of town, and so they're having to widen this from a 2-lane, well, 4-lane if you think about it, 2 lanes going eastbound, 2 lanes going westbound, and widen this to accommodate the population. I actually was living in Littleton when I started the Bible Skeptic channel, and a couple of years ago my wife and I did purchase a new home down here on the other side of the freeway in a I don't know what you call this place. It's kind of like a mini California. To be honest with you, I don't like living here, but it's called Highlands Ranch. I mean, it's a nice enough place and all that stuff, but talk about prefabricated everything. You can kind of see it. But we moved down here a few years ago, and so I live down on this side of town, not too far from where I used to live, up in Littleton, but we've moved down here. So that's why you see mostly a lot of videos in this end of town. But this is what we have to deal with. But with all that said, let me finish or continue with my Shock of God discussion. This one's not going to be very long. But in Shock's second lame argument that he thinks atheists use against the existence of God is the argument from evolution. And Shock cannot understand why evolution is an argument against God.
Why, pray tell, do atheists keep bringing up evolution as if... I love when they bring up evolution, don't get me wrong, I want them to keep doing it, but why do they bring it up as an argument against God.
I'll side with Shock on this one. I don't see how evolution is an argument against God's existence at all. At best, I think evolution is an argument against a literal reading of the book of Genesis as a historical origin story, that it is describing historical events on how the earth formed and how life began and all that stuff. So evolution would be an argument against that, but it certainly is not an argument against the existence of God. Evolution can be a function of life, and a God could have constructed it. I mean, there's no way to tell either way, right? Now, the Abrahamic God, it might be an argument against, again, because of these stories in Genesis. But I know that there are those who read Genesis without a historical eye. They look at it more as allegory or symbolism. And in that sense, evolution can perfectly fit with that notion of God. So as an argument against God, I agree. It's a very poor argument if it's being used that way by Christians, and if Shockey isn't just creating a straw man. He then, however, goes on to say that evolution as a poor argument against the existence of God is a poor argument because it doesn't account for the origins of life.
Evolution only talks about what happened after creatures were created, after mankind was created. It doesn't even talk about how these creatures were created. It doesn't talk about that. You ever notice that? It only talks about how they changed afterwards. Well, big whoop-de-doo, atheist.
But that isn't what evolution is supposed to address anyway. Evolution is about, like he says, life once it gets started. It would be like saying geology is a poor argument or a poor theory because it doesn't account for the actual formation of the Earth itself from the solar disk in the early solar system. Well, that's not what it's supposed to do. So, you know, it does what it's supposed to do. So I don't understand what Shock's argument there is, other than him slipping into that same old God of the gaps theory, where we can, you know, evolution can explain biological life, but it can't explain the origin of life, and therefore that's where we fit God. That's a little narrow gap in which we fit God. And then that's just a poor argument for God. God of the gaps has never been a good argument for the existence of God. Regardless, he goes on to say that microevolution, or evolution within a species, is compatible with biblical creationism.
Everyone agrees that there's change within limits, microevolution, which is just creation, by the way. Everyone agrees that there's change within limits, but that doesn't explain how these creatures got here, only that they change over time. Well, big whoopee-doo, my atheist friends. Even if they ever proved macroevolution, which they haven't, all they've proven is change within limits, which originally was already discovered by creationists, that things change within limits. Even in Scripture it says that, you know, God created them after their own kind.
Now, there's only one thing I want to ask theists and creationists, and I'm not the only one. A lot of us atheists and non-creationists have asked the creationists this question, and that is, what is the biological, physical, chemical mechanism, barrier that prevents microevolution from becoming macroevolution? What prevents one species from evolving into a separate species? And then finally, in this portion of Shock's vid, he becomes fed up with the heat that he's riding in and takes a cheap shot at California, the state in which he lives, and then offers a suggestion for where he wishes he could live.
By the way, it's like 105. Whew. So we're going to do, this is the only thing good about California, lane splitting. California, the land of the fruits and the nuts. I really belong in Texas, I'm telling you.
Where in the hell are you from anyway, Private? Sir, Texas, sir! Holy dog shit! Texas, only steers and queers come from Texas, Private Cowboy. And you don't much look like a steer to me, so that kind of narrows it down. I'll bet you're the kind of guy that would fuck a person in the ass and not even have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around. I'll be watching you.
So as I round this corner from C-470 onto I-25 north towards Denver, I will bid you all a fond farewell and look forward to seeing you guys soon with part 3 of my takedown of Shock of God. So long, guys.